Welcome everyone, my name is Jack Krause and welcome back to another episode of Inside Lines. Hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. We have 3 stories to talk about on this episode, 2 revolving Hendrick Motorsports drivers and 1 revolving a very popular, very fan favorite Xfinity Series team making the process on jumping to the Cup Series. But before we get into this episode, I want to give a huge shout out to Black Flags Matter. Now, if you're in the NASCAR community, more than likely you've heard of Black Flags Matter. Today, he posted a video talking about NASCAR's history of the racism and how they are committed to change. And I'm very fortunate that he allowed me to give my part in this video. I discussed NASCAR, what they've done as of late, and what the future looks like for the sport, and how we really need to stop mislabeling NASCAR as sort of this place that is a safe place for racist white people to come in to enjoy an event. It's not the case anymore. And how NASCAR nowadays is fully committed to change. They're all for diversity, all for inclusion, and basically are a 180 of the stereotypical, line that has been a black cloud really for NASCAR ever since its inception. It was a really well-made video, so again, if you haven't already, I'll leave a link in the description box down below, and maybe even a card on the top right of the screen for you to go ahead and check out that video. I really would appreciate it if you did. But if you have already watched the video, first of all, thank you, and let's not waste any time and jump right into it. Let's first start off with Alex Bowman. Today, apparently, leaked from Lefty Design's Discord server, don't know exactly who first made the picture, but apparently pictures have been leaked about Alex Bowman's Ally car for 2021. Here's a look at the picture. It looks like HMS is setting up a photo shoot or something regarding Ally, and there's a look at the car. Completely different from what I expected the car to be. I thought it was going to be really the rally car that Jimmie Johnson ran in the second half of the 2020 season, when it was basically an invert. Instead of black being the primary color, it was white with different shades of purple and pink and parallelograms. But this scheme to me looks a lot like the 2019 scheme that Johnson ran, but purple. It's got the same hood, the hood style of the car, which more than likely you're going to see that every single year on an Ally paint scheme. And it looks like, if you see it on the left front tire, and it's not really visible or not really clear, but it reminds me a lot of the bullseye that Jimmie Johnson had in 2019 on the front wheels of his Ally car. Again, it might not be like that, but that's what I got from it. And to be honest, based on the angle, and I want to hold my full thoughts on the car once we see the full render, but at least from that shot, it looks pretty nice. It's kind of sharp. I expected Ally to go for mainly a purple type paint scheme, because when you look at their branding, it's purple and white. That's their branding. So I expected Ally to announce their paint schemes to be a mainly purple type car. And when they announced for 2019-2020 a mainly black car and a white car, it threw me off guard. So to see this paint scheme, I'm kind of not surprised. But for now, at least from that angle, I kind of like it. And now we go from one Hendrick driver on to another. Kyle Larson. Yes, every single time there's an update on Kyle Larson, it's just a new chapter in the Larson saga. So when it was announced that Kyle Larson was signing with Hendrick Motorsports, many people were wondering, who are the sponsors? Who is going to represent Kyle Larson? We knew it would be few, and more than likely, it probably will be unsponsored. It will more than likely be similar to what William Byron had to deal with for a few races, HendrickCars.com being the main sponsor for the entire season. And I had a feeling when you take a look at Kyle Larson's merchandise, it was a lot of red, white, and blue, which in my opinion, thought, okay, we're probably going to see a paint scheme like this, like what William Byron ran at Talladega in 2019. Or even a throwback to the early 2000s when Brian Vickers ran the GMAC car in the Busch series. But credit to AC4 Racing, who posted these few photos on Reddit, shows Kyle Larson's car, and you can tell based on the 5 on the middle of your screen near towards the right, and it shows a black, red, and it looks like a silver hauler. Completely different from the colors that we were expected to see, being blue, red, and white. And when you take a look at the sponsors on the car, they're very scarce. First of all, let's take a look at the back of the hauler. It's Mac Tools, Chevrolet, and Valvoline. Now, Mac Tools and Chevrolet, those are sponsors that you expect to see on almost every Hendrick car, or if not, maybe on a Hendrick fire suit, or just something revolving with Hendrick. But with Valvoline, I feel like Valvoline is different. Valvoline has a more present role in Hendrick Motorsports. They have sponsored Alex Bowman for a few races. So seeing Valvoline on the hauler, don't want to jump ahead, but it makes me feel like that maybe, just maybe, we could see Valvoline have some form of role with Kyle Larson. Because when you take a look at the other sponsors on the car, There's sponsors that are just there as associates. The only sponsor that has been a primary is Valvoline, and they're on there twice. They're on the back and on the sides. When you look a bit forward, you see Freightliner, then you see Wix Filters, Siemens, Mac Tools, Cincinnati, Exalta, Acorns, Hendrick Cares, which is obviously a charitable organization made by Hendrick Motorsports, and Nations Guard. I have never heard of Nations Guard. If someone can explain it to me, find it somewhere, fine, but I have never seen Nations Guard on a Hendrick car, on a Hendrick fire suit, or anywhere. I could be wrong, but I just never seen that. So it looks like there are some sponsors there, right? Well, when you take a look at Kyle Larson on Hendrick Motorsports' website, it's a different story. First of all, the 5 car is in a blanket. It's covered. You don't see it. And second of all, and the more concerning part, is when you take a look at Kyle Larson's fire suit, it is completely blank. It's just a blank black fire suit. On the front, you see the 4 logos that you'd expect to see on every fire suit. The NASCAR Cup Series logo, Hendrick Motorsports, Goodyear, and Chevrolet. And when you take a look at the sleeves of Kyle Larson, for example, on the right, it looks like Siemens, Freightliner, Acorns, and I believe Chevrolet on the top of the right sleeve. On the left side, you see the NASCAR logo, the Chevy logo, Siemens, Acorns, and Sunoco. So like I said, logos that you expect to see on either a fire suit or logos you expect to see on every Hendrick's fire suit. And it's kind of surprising. I mean, not even the Hendrick Cars logo. I do expect maybe once we get closer and closer into the season, we might see a more colorful or at least somewhat filling suit. I highly doubt Hendrick is going to let Larson go on the racetrack with nothing on it. You know, like not even Hendrick Cars logo. I'm pretty sure they just put something out there just to put something out there. I mean, even take a look at the font of the number 5. It doesn't even look like the 5 car that you see on the racetrack. It looks different. So they probably just put it on there just to put it on there. But it's weird. The merchandise is all colorful, you know, blue, red, white. The hauler is white, red, black. That makes me think that possibly we could see a throwback to 2012, 2013, when Casey Kane ran this paint scheme with the Hendrick Cars logo on the car, and it was mainly white, red, and black. That's a possibility. I'm just going by what I'm seeing. It's weird that the merchandise is one thing, but the hauler is a completely different thing. Now, another part that's interesting is the fact that, well, what about Chevy Goods? You know, Chevy Goods was a sponsor to basically replace Nationwide and to help Alex Bowman get through the season. Well, they're not back. If you go on Hendrick Motorsports sponsors list, Mountain Dew's not there, which we expected. PepsiCo decided not to renew their contract. But Chevy Goods is also not there. And that is also not surprising because Chevy Goods is basically Chevrolet accessories, or at least a form of that. Whenever you see a GMS truck on the racetrack and you see Chevrolet accessories, that means that car is unsponsored. They just put a Chevy branded product on the car because they drive a Chevrolet. But with Kyle Larson, it's different because when Hendrick signed Kyle Larson, Chevrolet decided not to give Larson a personal services agreement. So let's say, for example, if Chevrolet were supposed to held a event and all Chevy drivers were to come, more than likely you're not going to see Kyle Larson there. So it's like he drives a Chevrolet, but is not really affiliated with Chevrolet, if that makes sense. So I'm not surprised to see why Chevy Goods decided not to come back to HMS, because Alex Bowman goes to the 48, a car that is already fully funded the entire season with Ally. Chevrolet, they're still not too keen on Kyle Larson still, so decided to just back out completely. But yeah, things are not looking too good for Kyle Larson. Again, it's not surprising. I'm not surprised to see very little sponsors on the car. I'm very intrigued on the Valvoline and Nations Guard because, again, those are 2 sponsors I did not expect to see affiliated with anything Kyle Larson related. But to see that those sponsors are not even on Larson's fire suit is quite worrying. Or maybe not. I don't know. I just hope that this sort of problem with Kyle Larson finding sponsorship doesn't go on for too long and someone's able to step up and give him a second chance to sponsor him for either the entire season or half a season or whatever, but just give him another shot. And now on to our final story. Kaulig Racing, a fan favorite in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, it has been reported for a while now that they eventually plan to go into Cup Series racing, potentially as early as 2022, the same year the next-gen car is expected to be released. Well, it looks like that process has begun. They announced today that they will be running a limited schedule in the NASCAR Cup Series in 2021. We're going to read a statement from Kaulig Racing, which says, quote, that Kaulig Racing has announced it is anticipating a limited NASCAR Cup Series schedule for the upcoming 2021 season. While it is no secret the team intends to expand to a full-time Cup Series team in its future, Kaulig Racing plans to get its feet wet with selected races in 2021, including road course and super speedway events, in addition to the 63rd annual Daytona 500. Matt Kaulig said in a statement that Kaulig Racing is always building towards the future, and I believe that this is the next step in that process. We have the ultimate goal of becoming a powerhouse team in the Cup Series, and we are excited to continue our team's growth. As the team actively seeks partnership opportunities for the 21 season, Kaulig Racing expects further announcements regarding drivers and potential events to come at a later date. Okay, so important things to point out there. Partnership opportunities, drivers, potential events, and what they were going to be racing at. They said they're going to be racing at the road courses and super speedway events. I won't be surprised though if they might dip their toes into maybe running a short track race or a mile to mile and a half race. Get your feet wet on all types of NASCAR racetracks. But because they said road course and super speedway racing, that has my mindset come down to two drivers, AJ Allmendinger and Justin Haley. Allmendinger for the road courses and Haley for the super speedways. First of all, AJ. It should be no surprise to say that this guy is extremely good on the road courses. He's a former winner in the Cup Series, winning back at Watkins Glen in 2014. He knows how to get the job done when turning left and right. And then we go to Justin Haley. Haley, a former Cup Series winner at Daytona back in 2019. On top of that, he has won, I think, the last 3 super speedway races in the Xfinity Series. 2 at Talladega and 1 at Daytona. Now, it could be 2 completely different drivers. Now, I'm not saying those are the 2 drivers, but I feel like when you take a look at those 2 are signed on to Kaulig Racing already. Those 2 are really good at their respective skills on those types of tracks. It would make sense to have them drive for those select races. But especially with Justin Haley, when you consider the fact that number 1, he's still very young. He has run really good in the Xfinity Series, has been very consistent, made it to the championship for last season. More than likely, Haley is going to be the future of Kaulig when they make it to Cup, again as early as 2022. It just makes sense. Unless something bizarre happens, I cannot see why Kaulig would not go with Justin Haley. So if you want to get your feet wet, it would make sense to go with the driver that's going to be part of your team for a long time. As well as the team said that they are actively looking for partnership opportunities. Maybe Spire Motorsports, they have partnered with teams in the past in their short time in NASCAR. I think maybe Premium Motorsports, if they are still up and running, I'm not too sure exactly what the deal is going on with there. Maybe Rick Ware Racing, we know that they are a powerhouse when it comes to backmarker teams, and they run Ford and Chevy cars, so we could see a partnership with there. Those are the only 2 things that make sense in my opinion. I don't see them maybe going to Chip Ganassi Racing because Chastain did drive with Kaulig, so maybe that could work. But I think more than likely it's going to come down between either Rick Ware Racing or Spire Motorsports. That's just my throwing in my 2 cents. But yeah, I am looking forward to Kaulig Racing making the jump to the Cup Series. Kaulig Racing, especially in the Xfinity Series, they're such a fun group. Especially last season. You had Chastain, Allmendinger, and Justin Haley. They were such a fun group, especially at Talladega when Haley won that race and you had Allmendinger and Ross Chastain run up and hug Justin Haley. It was a fun moment, but it also gave the idea that Kaulig Racing is a fun, laid-back, just loose environment, but still gets the job done when it's time to go to work. And teams like that make me excited for when they eventually move on to the Cup Series. Kaulig Racing, I feel like they are ready for Cup Series racing. Depending on when they decide to make the jump is up to them, but the team owner, Matt Kaulig, said that they are ready to become a powerhouse in the Cup Series. That's a lot of confidence. You have to have a lot of confidence to say that, and you have to have a lot of resources on your hand in order to say that with chest. But yeah, hopefully, hopefully the transition goes well. I'm really excited to see the drivers that they pick and the races that they do attend because remember, I think we go to 6, 7 road course races in 2021. But yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially if AJ Allmendinger is going to be running those road courses. I cannot wait to see him. If he does, if he is picked to run those races for Cup, for Kaulig, imagine him in Coda or him in Road America. Oh, it's going to be fun to watch. But wishing nothing but the best for Kaulig Racing. Very happy to see them make this announcement. And hopefully it could be the start of and like what Matt Kaulig said, a possible powerhouse for the team in the future. But that's going to conclude this episode of Inside Lines, guys. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. But until next time, my name is JettMDK. Thank you so much for watching. Again, thank you once again for Black Flags Matter for allowing me to come on and say my part in that video. If you want to check it out, again, Link in the description down below, as well as in the comments, so make sure you go ahead and check that video out. But until next time, I'll see y'all later.